Hey, happy Friday. Tyler Day here. I hope you guys are doing well, and I hope that you had a good 4th. Today, I want to talk about a topic that I think a lot of people have sort of a misunderstanding about when they go to start their own business or just in life in general. And that topic is basically dealing with stress and managing stress. So, I think a big reason why a lot of people avoid starting their own business or achieving big things in business is because they have the mindset of basically wanting to avoid stress and to want sort of this easy life where they don't have a lot of problems and they can just sort of make enough to get some basic standard of living that they accept, but don't want to deal with sort of like these bigger problems and bigger issues that come up when you go out on a limb and take a little bit more risk and start your own business, or maybe you don't have the security of a salary and you don't have, sort of these safety nets to catch you and whatnot. And I want to talk a little bit about that because I think that this is sort of a misconception that a lot of people have. And I believe that sort of this mindset of needing to avoid stress is a big thing that holds a lot of people back from reaching their full potential. So the main thing that you need to realize when it comes to stress is that your ability to deal with stress is basically going to be the ceiling on your success. So however much stress you're able to manage and deal with on a daily basis is going to determine how successful you're going to be. So average people, middle class, lower class, basically they try to avoid stress at all costs. And high performers, the elite performers, the top 1%, basically have a mindset that stress is actually good, and that stress is the gateway to getting everything that you want and reaching your full potential. So realize that there's two different mindsets here when it comes to stress. And I think one big determining factor of me and Peter's success over the years has been basically not shying away from the stress and realizing that the more stress that you deal with, the more that your ability to deal with stress increases and the higher your ceiling goes for how much that you can handle and the level of success that you can reach. So there's been many times in my business where the stress has basically gotten to like unmanageable levels. But in each of these events has basically predicated some of the biggest breakthroughs that we've ever had. So let me give you an example. So let's rewind the clock back to 2018. Peter and I were basically a two-man team. We were running campaigns and we had just finished releasing a course to teach people lead gen. And we had about, 300 something students that went through the course, right? And when the course finished up, we weren't quite sure on what our next step was going to be. We were running some background check campaign for people to type in their neighbor's name and see if they had like a criminal record, if they were like a sex offender or something like that, right? It was just a very simple offer for, checking people's background, right? We were running this as affiliates, and we had all of these people that had just went through the course, and we're like, well, what should we do here? We've got 300 something people that we just taught this business model to, as far as how to do affiliate marketing, and all of them want to be successful, right? So what can we do to sort of help these people along? And an idea that we had at the time was to basically start an affiliate network. So we basically had this one advertiser on board that was cool with us having affiliates run the offer under us. So we created a company called O2C Network. And what we basically did is we basically reached out to all 300 of the students in 1 week. I sent all of them a message personally, and I invited them onto a call to get set up on the affiliate network. And all of a sudden, overnight, we had a new company that we had created with 300 affiliates that we onboarded all from this course. And the company was still just me and my brother Peter. Peter was, we were kind of all doing everything. We were all wearing every hat, but Peter was mainly on the client and accounting side. Peter was literally manually sending out wire transfers to 40 people at a time and balancing the books. And I was chatting back and forth with 30, 40 affiliates a day, plus on Skype, coordinating, helping them out, getting set up on the campaign and this and that. And this was basically like the most overwhelming amount of work that I'd ever done in my life. And this was basically when I hit my first real stress ceiling in my life. And it wasn't fun. Like every day I would wake up and I would open up my phone lying in bed in the morning, and I would see hundreds of Skype threads back and forth where I was the one solely responsible for responding to these people, for chatting back and forth with them, for answering their questions, for getting them set up on campaigns. And this went on for a while. Like it was 3-4 months of just, basically grinding it to the bone. And I would wake up every day and I would open my phone lying in bed and I would run to the toilet and I would puke because I had just this sick feeling in my stomach of just being so overwhelmed and so stressed out that my first impulse was to basically throw up every day in the morning, right? Now, of course, this was not sustainable. And, very, very quickly, a lot of different aspects of my life started to fall apart, But over time, I realized sort of what the bottlenecks were in this sort of model. Okay, well, I realized I needed an affiliate manager to, manage some of these conversations. Peter realized he needed an accounting person to help him send out the wire transfers. And slowly but surely, over the consecutive months and year, we started to build this out into an actual company with, a team. And all of a sudden, we weren't so overwhelmed anymore. And we had a business that was doing north of $10 million a year in revenue. And this was one of the biggest breakthroughs that we had at the time. And it was it all came down to basically learning how to deal with the stress and realizing that when you do get overwhelmed and stressed, that there's usually a specific bottleneck that you can fix to alleviate your stress and continue to grow. So the average performer would have the mindset of never even wanting to get into that business to begin with, because they would have been thinking about how much work it would have been to deal with all these people and to send out the wire transfers and to deal with the conversations back and forth and to deal with the clients and blah, 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 right? But we had the mindset that we just weren't going to worry about that. We were just going to go full steam ahead and we're just going to figure it out and put one foot in front of the other, right? And then we realized eventually that dealing with hundreds and hundreds of affiliates was sort of a bottleneck in and of itself. So we ended up sort of consolidating that business model down to, taking the top 10 plus affiliates and bringing them on full time with our internal team. And then now we're sort of shelving the whole affiliate network business. That's sort of been an ongoing process over the past year and a half. We're not so much in the business anymore of running an affiliate network as we are running an internal media buying agency, performance marketing agency. And, I think what a lot of people don't realize is that you can sort of dig yourself out of these stressful situations over time. Just because you're in a stressful situation for a temporary period of time doesn't mean that it's just always going to be like that infinitely. And when you do figure out the specific bottlenecks, you can move forward and actually achieve great things, right? So I think another thing that people need to realize is that if you're building a business that's all about you, you're never going to be as successful as if you're thinking about other people. And this is probably a topic for a whole nother video. and I'll probably wait to expand on this a lot more in future episodes. But what is the reason behind what you're doing, right? For me, ever since I've been in business, like since, back when we originally started the affiliate network and this and that, very little of this has been about me or has been about Peter personally. Very little of it has been about ego, has been about, oh, I need to be this big successful person. I need to, be on the Forbes 30 under 30 and have everybody know my name. Very little of that has ever been my objective. From the beginning, it's always been about helping other people. When I started the affiliate network, I was getting on calls back to back every 30 minutes, as many of these calls as I could do in a day, 10, 15 calls a day, where I would talk to random strangers from the internet that I'd never met, and I would explain to them how to get profitable on ad campaigns. And I built this business with Peter one step at a time, with one affiliate at a time, right? And very little of it was about me. Very little of it was about ego and, having everybody know my name and taking all the credit for everything. It was about basically helping people become successful. I was very passionate about helping people tap into this fullest potential as an affiliate and start successful businesses themselves, right? And now my main focus is helping our internal team, right? Every day, my main focus when I wake up is how do I serve my team? How do I get people profiting on a new campaign this week? How do I get somebody that's doing everything themselves to the next level on the team? How do I build out a division under top media buyers on the team and teach them how to become leaders themselves, right? So I think if you're operating a business out of ego, it's going to be very, very hard to make it through these sort of stressful periods. But if you can sort of dial in your why, why are you doing this? Why are you grinding yourself to the bone every day? Is it out of ego? Is it out of needing to be this successful hotshot? Or is it about helping others, right? I think about 80% of your time needs to be focused on helping others. And 20% of your time needs to be doing the work to develop yourself, right? Spending that time in the gym, getting your body physically strong, getting your mind physically strong, doing things to just increase your creativity. I like to just go out surfing and being in the sun. I come up with better ideas when I come back from surfing and I've got just a handful of new ideas for different ad copies I can write or different ways that I could help this specific person on the team or whatever, right? So that's the main lesson for today, guys, is don't shy away from stress and figure out what your why is for why you're doing what you're doing. Anyways, I hope you guys have a good one and let's crush it.